Welcome to the first episode of the Röhlig Radar podcast. I'm Jay Farrugia. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Röhlig Australia. I've been with the business for 10 years and I'm excited to welcome our first guest today, Felix Jeschke. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Very close. Jeschke. That's good though.
Before we get into it, a little bit about why we're doing the podcast. So we recently did some webinars. We obviously do marketing updates and various forms of communication and interactions with our customers. What we wanted to do is really find another platform where we could give some industry insights, but also give people a bit of a snapshot into life behind a Röhlig or what it's like to work for Röhlig. We've got some really interesting people that have had some great journeys. Obviously, yourself being one of those people. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to having you on board and let's get into it.
Yeah, awesome. Excited. Thank you very much.
So Felix, for those that don't know about us, can you tell us a little bit about Röhlig Logistics?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, welcome also from my end. So for those who don't know Röhlig as much or want to get to know it better, essentially, like Röhlig is a originally founded in Germany logistics company. We've been there since 1852. So we have a very exciting year coming up next year, which will be our 175-year anniversary globally. So stay tuned for that. But what we're very proud of until now is that we're a privately owned, family-led company. So the company currently is led in the 6th generation by Philip Herwig, who's based in Bremen in Germany and is part of the original founder family as well. So in the market here, Australia and New Zealand, where we obviously both are based and that we're focusing on a bit more in this podcast, we've been here since 53 years now. So some of you, if you would have worked with us before, might have been to a big celebration that we had here 3 years ago when we had the 50th anniversary, and you can still see it in our trucks. So yeah, we've been in this region also quite for some time by now.
In New Zealand, we're 37 years.
Yes,
yep,
37 years in New Zealand.
Yep.
So it's also inching up to the next anniversary there. So exciting times ahead.
You've had a great, I suppose, journey with Röhlig in 8 years. So tell us a bit about who you are and your story.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, my name is Felix, last name Jeschke. So very well done. I think ever since I moved to Australia, that one gets everyone, but it also breaks the ice quite easily. So yeah, I'm glad we work our first name mostly here. Yep. So yeah, I'm the director for contract logistics here in Australia and New Zealand. So I look after our 3PL footprint from our IT, from our operations side, and work with the various stakeholders, obviously, across the business in this region. Yep.
And you're based in Perth?
Yes, now I am. So yeah, I used to live in Sydney as well for a while. But nowadays, since a couple of years actually, we're over there in the Wild West.
Yep. Excellent. Tell us a bit about your journey, how you ended up with Röhlig.
Yeah, it's been quite the journey by now. So I think we're getting close to 8 years. So I started 2018. So back then I was still in university in Germany. So I just finished my master's and I heard, I don't even know on what forum, but I heard about the Röhlig management trainee program. So which as such is a 3-year program. And we're still offering to this day where people or uni grads in particular can join Röhlig through this journey, which gives them the opportunity to go abroad. So within that program, you have the opportunity to do basically 3 countries, 1 country per year, and you live and you work in that country. So you get a really broad exposure. I was very lucky that my first country was Australia. So I've actually stepped foot into an office in Germany for my interview, but then our first day of work was the Sydney branch. And it happened. So obviously that was at the end of 2018. So then the pandemic came and there were a couple of changes. So I actually didn't end up going through the full 3 years.
I guess how did those other 2 countries go?
Yeah. So I might have liked Australia a little bit too much. Yep. And looking back at it, because that was literally when the pandemic hit, I think it was the best country to be stuck at because we were still operating, right? We were living lives, I mean, at least for a little while until also then we got shut down, at least over in the East Coast, particularly Melbourne. Obviously, it was really affected, but from that perspective, it was good. So I finished up the management trainee program and took on a role as a project manager for contract logistics here in Australia and New Zealand. So that was then the real start to it for the region or for the area that I'm in now. So worked with the teams over the last couple of years to implement new warehouses, new customers, new systems, anything like that is contract logistics related really. It comes somehow back to me. And then took on the position as the national contract logistics manager here a bit over 2 years ago. And then since the beginning of this year, took on the role as a director for the region. Yeah, and kind of still do the same to this date.
Yep. How's the travel go? Yeah, I mean, you travel all around the world at times. Is that something that you enjoy? You like doing?
Like it's very interesting because I don't know if my parents will ever watch this, but if they do, then they will probably say it's very unexpected. So like growing up, like I was never a person who traveled much. Like I was very stable, homebound. So yeah, this lifestyle now, like I really enjoy it. I love it. So I live on the different side of the world as well. So, but yeah, it's a fair bit of travel, which is good because especially with the warehouses, like it really helps to be in front of people, be in front of cargo, be in front of the processes, systems to see what we're doing, why we're doing, and where are the problems. So often you just can't quite capture that over a Teams meeting. But yeah, like I enjoy it. The only thing is like I can't keep up. Like I'm still on an analog watch, so I often can't keep up changing the time. So I got to translate a little bit in my head.
Talk us through that evolution within our contract logistics footprint over the last 7, 8 years.
Yeah, it's grown significantly. So when I joined in 2018, we only had 3 warehouses. And we can't count Brisbane. So 4. We had 4, which was just Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney, and Auckland.
Yeah, we're going to touch on Brisbane as well.
Yeah, we'll come back to Brisbane. Yeah. So obviously Brisbane is still a smaller site, but we'll come back to that one. So we had those 4 in the region, but now we have 9. So what we've seen over the last years is a strong growth of Röhlig in that space. So there's a lot happening within Röhlig, not just in the region, also globally, of what we can offer, what we want to offer, to move to the one-stop shop, the holistic solution where we don't just move your freight, we can also help you then locally. So it's not just Australia and New Zealand growing in that field. We also opened a lot of warehouses in Southeast Asia during the same time. We opened a joint venture in the Netherlands during this time. So yeah, it's been a massive, massive growth that we've gone on for the last couple of years.
Yep. Now, talk to us about what our current footprint looks like across Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah, okay. So, like we touched on it a bit earlier that we've actually expanded a lot over the last couple of years. So, where we're at right now is we basically have a warehouse in every major city in the region. So, that includes Australia and New Zealand. So, if we look at the Australian map, we're not yet in the Northern Territory, but we're basically everywhere else. So, we've got a warehouse in Perth that we opened 4 years ago. 3 years ago, we opened Adelaide. And then very fresh, if you want to call it that way, basically Melbourne and Sydney. So in Melbourne, we invested a lot into a brand new facility that we opened last year in April. So it's a completely greenfield development. So it's state of the art. It's built to our demands right at the Melbourne airport. So, which is one of our nicest facilities to this day. 18,000 square meter with a lot of potential for any type of business. And again, like jumping here a little bit between the topics, but the location as well of all of these warehouses is always strategically connected to the remainder of the business. So in most of the areas, we're very close to the airport, or even on airport land, to have that connection and ability, especially for fast moving air freight, to be able to turn around freight quicker for our customers. So Perth is on airport land, Melbourne is on airport land. Therefore, that's a very strong footprint in that space. So Brisbane, obviously, we speak about that one a bit later. So that one, we have a small warehouse at this stage with a very strong intention to change that in the very near future. But we'll come back to that one. Yep. And in Sydney, that one is even more recent than what we did in Melbourne, is where we added a warehouse last year. So we have we still have a warehouse in Moorebank. That facility is around 6,000 square meter, which we had outgrown, which is great to see. So therefore, we made an investment at the end of last year and added a second facility, so which is another 12,000 square meters. So therefore, by now, we have overall 18,000 square meter in Melbourne and in Sydney, both very modern facilities, or 3 essentially modern facilities to cater for the different demands in the space. And then if we jump over to New Zealand, we also have had a lot of growth there. So from one warehouse when I first started, we're now looking at 3. So 2 of them are located in Auckland itself. One again at airport site, and one in East Tamaki, which both of them have a very strong footprint. Again, combined total of roughly 18,000 square meter that services most of the North Island. Obviously, a lot of freight in New Zealand is Auckland heavy and gets distributed from there. But we also noticed, most companies obviously know about it, there is always the connection problem with the North and the South Island. It's very dependent on that ferry, if it runs properly or not. And the transport times are obviously quite significant going that way. So 2 years ago, we invested into a new facility in Christchurch, which we've opened up now. So we have 2,500 square meters available in Christchurch as well, to service customers better and just faster speed to market, lower local distribution charges, because we have that set up. So this is kind of where we're at present. So it's all across Australia and then also in New Zealand across both islands.
And we know Christchurch has the best view for a warehouse in the Röhlig network as well, right?
By a long shot.
Yep.
So I think, going back, like you asked me earlier what I think about the travel, and everyone thinks traveling is exciting. I can tell you, like, if you travel to warehouses, it usually is the opposite. Warehouses are not located in the beautiful parts of a city. No one wants to see that. So usually, therefore, traveling for warehouses is the opposite of exciting, except for Christchurch.
Christchurch is the exception. Well, I'm sure Jochen's going to dial in and he'll love to hear that.
Christchurch has the amazing view. If you go there in winter, bring a jacket, but at least you get the mountain view in the background and you get the snow on top of the mountain. So from a warehousing perspective, that's very exciting.
Amazing. Moving to the future, I think Brisbane is the smallest warehouse in the Röhlig network. Where do we see that going?
Yeah, okay. So maybe quick shout out if anyone from Brisbane listens to this. Yes, I think you're officially the smallest footprint right now. So I think we can give you that title right here. We are growing in Brisbane. So Brisbane is not just Röhlig, also for obviously a country in Australia is kind of not anymore the third city, like it was always Melbourne and Sydney and then kind of Brisbane. Like over the last decades, like Brisbane has really caught up economically, demographically, to grow, to invest, to structure. It's one of the fastest growing markets. If anyone is trying to buy real estate in Brisbane, good luck, because it's a very hot market as well. So we see that, we know that. So Brisbane for us really is the next market. Also 2020 or 2032, the Olympics coming to Brisbane. So yeah, Brisbane will be our next growth, and
before 2032, right?
Before 2032, we're very, very intensively working on Brisbane, literally right now. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we can share some further updates around Brisbane.
Excellent. No, it's really exciting. And yeah, looking forward to being able to, I suppose, offer in-house solutions across the board. I think, we've got some good offsite options, which is good. So we can still service our customers there, but to bring it all in-house, be able to serve, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, all in-house, is definitely a big advantage for our customers.
Yeah, and that's the reason why we do it, right? Because we see that need. So a lot of our customers have a national footprint. So they're not just, and Australia's too big as well for that, right? For some business it works, no problem. But if you're a national provider, a national service provider, and you're working on that national level, then the transport costs usually kill you, at one point or another. But domestic transport, especially with the fuel situation going on at the moment, is just one of the most expensive parts within the distribution network within Australia. So therefore, having the footprint and the warehouses across the country, across New Zealand, that's the reason why we invested in Perth, why we invested in Adelaide, Christchurch, because the same concept applies to New Zealand, right? North Island, South Island. It's the domestic transport leg that is often the problem. And where also, when we come back to what is the change now, the service expectation has changed. 10 years ago, people were fine to wait for their order. Yep. It was normal. You could go to your local shop and get it today, or you could buy it online and would get it at one point.
Look at Amazon, right? I know, I order something straight away. I filter, what can I get if, I want to buy tomorrow.
Exactly.
So I think as we progress, it's just we want things faster and faster.
Yes.
Probably similar in our space as well.
Yeah, and we see that following on, right? So that's just becoming the norm now. Like, people it can't be delivered tomorrow, I don't want it.
Yep.
Like the need might have already been gone for them to buy it, or it's such a deterrent that they don't proceed with it. So to service that in Australia, unless you want to air freight it, the only option is to have it more distributed and stored in the country. So therefore, we're investing in that, and Brisbane, with the market that it is, definitely deserves a spot on the map now to be not just the smallest warehouse anymore, but has a significant footprint.
Oh, watch your space.
Yeah.
What are you seeing customers want now that maybe they didn't want a few years ago? Like, are you seeing customer expectations and demands change?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, technology is one of the key drivers that changes, and the expectation in regards to that, like also what they experience on their personal side. So like with B2C, we're quite advanced these days. You have like within the metro areas, you have same day, or within a couple of hours, a delivery. You can track it live by the minute of where this delivery is. So on the B2C and the private consumer market, like these structures are there. So the B2B often lags a little bit, but the demands obviously can be representative for what's to come for the B2B side as well. So from that perspective, we see questions in regards to visibility. Integration is a key one where most customers want these days to work with us on an integrated level, meaning API, EDI, whatever the format essentially is, because it depends on what system they're using, that there's more and more push for that. So it's rather now the normal than while it might have been like 5-10 years ago, it was an exception. So nowadays, every conversation almost starts with, okay, you can hold our stock. Yes, that's kind of
what else can you do?
What else can you do?
Yep.
How can I see my stock? Like, what tools do you have for visibility, for traceability? Like, I need to track certain performance factors. I need to integrate with my system. I need to give feedback to my customers. How can we connect that? And not just around the warehouse, also about obviously the delivery piece, right? The final mile. So from warehouse to end customer, where we and probably a lot of other providers as well, especially in Australia, where it's such a huge country, rely on multiple or not just international, mainly national carriers to support with these deliveries. Like, how integrated are we with them that there's basically no difference? Like, yes, Röhlig manages it on behalf of customers, but there's no difference in regards to what the customer sees from a traceability point of view.
I mean, that's interesting because we see that on the freight forwarding side as well. Customers do want that extra visibility. So I'm curious as to whether maybe the increased visibility on the freight forwarding side drives the desire for more visibility on the contract logistics side, or if it's vice versa. In terms of integrations, we're doing a lot more integrations now, I think, right across the business, whether it's with our service providers, with our customers, whether it's freight forwarding, whether it's contract logistics.
Yeah.
There's benefits. Obviously, there's costs that come associated with that initial setup, but the benefits downstream are definitely there. Less email friction, communication, streamlined. You get information faster.
It's definitely something that we can work towards to, and that we want to work towards to as a company. So how do we connect the freight forwarding with the contract logistics? Not just operationally, which we do today already, because we import the freight, we pick it up, we import it, we deliver to our warehouse, we store it, we send it out. But how can we offer the customer more seamless solution? Like, how can we connect the systems that their product level kind of becomes through the entire supply chain visible? Doesn't matter what system, what part it currently is sitting with. So this is something that we work towards too. Obviously, with real time, we've implemented a very strong system and tool for customers to use and to have visibility across most of the supply chain. And then feeding contract logistic into it is definitely the next step that we're looking at. And what shape or form that might take place is a different discussion, but definitely combining those data streams is essential.
Let's talk about automation. I mean, we run multi-user facilities. So automation would be quite the challenge. Do you see many 3PLs taking on automation? I mean, without being in a niche environment where you might have big warehouses full of garments for multiple garment customers, you might see some automation there. But in terms of our type of contract logistics, do you see automation coming in?
Yeah, we see it. Like we see it definitely. Like I think Australia again is a little bit maybe behind what's happening over in Europe. So I think Europe is leading there a little bit, Asia as well. But automation will come. There's no question about it. Like, because certain tasks in the warehouse are repetitive, and the key question is just how to combine it best. Because for us in particular, like we obviously work with a lot of different customers, and as mentioned earlier, like we want to be flexible, like we want to adjust, we want to be able to customize if they need certain value-added services. We're offering these. So where automation comes in is a bit more what you mentioned as well, where standardization is present. But we see it definitely in the 3PL space. Like then you potentially have more standardization within the 3PL. So the warehouse specializing on e-com. So therefore all the parcels are kind of the same size. So you can integrate that. Like we are aware of like drone technology to do your stock take. So once you have standardization, the possibilities are coming. AI is a big factor. And maybe on that quickly is the WMS, obviously, right? So that's the driving factor behind all of this. So that the system can accommodate for these changes, for the technology that's out there. Like pick by light is almost outdated these days, like nowadays we're looking at solutions where people wear glasses that is then in the background connected to the WMS that can tell if it's the right or the wrong product. So if they're in the right location.
I thought those special glasses were just for YouTubers and
now they're coming. So I think they will play a vital part in the warehouse, because they keep your hands free, and they basically eliminate the manual steps of scanning, checking, and validating. So that, for example, is a topic that we will see at one point. And the key part behind all of this is WMS, so that the system is capable to connect with that. As Röhlig, we, as you would know, like we've really heavily invested in that, because we see that demand coming, we see that change coming, we see that this is the future, like that we will work in an environment where data is integrated, where processes are integrated. So we've actually partnered with the Infor as a provider. Infor obviously is one of the global WMS providers, who is a very strong footprint also in AI and automation, and the ability to just connect the different parts of the business with each other. And that's something we're pushing.
So really gearing up for the future.
Yeah, like 100%. So like obviously with the warehouses, there are various parts. So like one is the static, like you need the facility, you need the forklifts, like you just need the presence, and then you need the cargo. But the operations is all dictated by the systems, and that's kind of where we're positioning ourselves now. Like we have heavily invested over the last couple of years in the infrastructure itself, into the warehouses, like going from 3 to 9 warehouses, building that setup. We've heavily invested into our people to create amazing teams in the regions, like grow, because that's something that comes on the back as well, right? You can always sign a lease contract for a warehouse that's done on management level, but to then make it successful and make it also beneficial for the customers doesn't depend on the management level anymore. That purely depends on the operators in the warehouse. So those investments in staff, facilities, equipment, the system, have been done, and now it's about fine tuning. Like it's finding the automations, it's finding the integrations, it's finding all those balances to go further.
What are some of the key challenges that you see with customers?
Yeah, so there's one in particular that we see with every customer, and I get it. It is a difficult one, which is master data. So like it doesn't really matter how big or small companies are, their master data, which is vital for contract logistics. So what are the dimensions? What are the pack keys of your products? To have that on file and to maintain that is a challenge. And it can lead to difficulties, or a lot of difficulties later on for the warehouse, for the operation, especially if you integrate and someone has the unit of measure as carton and someone else has as each, and suddenly you send out an entire carton where you wanted just one each. So that is a consistent challenge. And especially as we move towards more automation, integration, like those kind of things become more pronounced because people rely on data being accurate. So that is a key challenge across the board. Obviously, we work very closely with our customers. We can help with that. May it be installing like measurement tables that record these things on inbound. So there's options, but that is one. Another common challenge is, especially for customers who are new to Australia or new to New Zealand in particular, is to underestimate the country. So to kind of, similar as people say, I need a footprint in Europe, and in Europe it also almost works because the connections are there, transport networks are just more established. And Australia is not quite there yet. New Zealand is also not quite there yet. It's a little bit less of a distance, and the demand is obviously not as spread out. But for Australia, it's a challenge. So we really work closely with every customer especially who's new to the market, who might have just been importing freight directly to distributors and now wants to set up their own footprint, to work closely with them on their analysis. Where is their heat map? Like, where are their customers? Because it's not just the lead time, it's therefore also cost. And transport cost, like we touched on, is a big portion in the puzzle piece. So those two, I think, common challenges that a lot of customers face.
Through COVID, we saw, people panic buying, whole model shifting, where warehousing was really tight to get. I think then we saw a bit of an ease in that demand. What are we seeing at the moment, especially with what's happening around the world?
Yeah, we'll kind of see a bit of a spike of that again. So this model, or the perfect world, the just in time model, right? Like low stock holdings to reduce your cost there, everything kind of slots in nicely, is a difficult model for Australia. And during COVID, we saw the complete flip side. It went from just in time to just in case. Like people were just holding stock. People privately were doing the same, right? Like where people previously had 10 rolls of toilet paper, suddenly everyone felt like they needed to have 100 because you just didn't know when you got your hands back on it. So that shift was also obviously very visible in the freight and the contract logistics world. We see it a bit more now. It's not quite as extreme. I think the result of the Middle East crisis has actually not hit as hard, like at least from a stock holding perspective, because supply chains bounced back fairly quickly. Solutions were there. Like we did obviously the air freight charter to overcome it. So there are solutions and people got around it. So while it's not perfect yet, we see a bit of a spike, but not too much. What we do see is a lot of consolidation as well. So especially companies who maybe had various little warehouses tend to bring them in-house, like under one roof. If that is managed internally or externally is a different discussion, obviously, that someone or customers need to work for themselves if 3PL is the right model or in-house, but at least bringing it together. And that's the reason why we are pushing on these investments, why we in Melbourne went to a bigger facility and obviously grew that, while we're in Brisbane going to a bigger facility. So while we're supporting that as well.
Yep.
So that's definitely a trend that's happening in the market.
It's a bit of a catch-22 with consolidation, right? Because you might save a bit in terms of, your stock holdings, your warehousing costs, things like that. But then, you look at the fuel surcharges where they spiked. So your transport and your fuel all of a sudden makes up, a big portion. We're starting to see fuel come back down. I know for metro deliveries, almost back to, February levels almost. Yep. Are we seeing that with the longer haul transport?
Yeah, we see it. We see a bit of relaxation in the fuel market, which is good.
Yep.
So hopefully, obviously, the conflict gets resolved and there's a deal, hopefully, at one point that kind of solves it more long term.
Yep.
While at the moment, it's still volatile, right? Like every carrier has a weekly fuel surcharge. Like no one commits even to a month anymore. So which makes it difficult for people to predict, difficult for people to price, because what you might pay today can be completely different tomorrow. So we see a bit of relaxation there, and we hope it will continue. With the consolidation, by the way, sorry, it's more within the same metro. So where previously you had like multiple warehouses potentially as you've grown organically, people now seem to invest more into one stable, one bigger facility. Obviously, it reduces overhead costs, puts it under one roof. It's only one system or one system set up to manage. You don't have intra transfer between the sites. So that, like, on a national level, probably rather less. There's more the split to have more satellite warehouses. A lot of the customers that we talk to these days.
To save the transport costs.
To save the transport costs. Yeah, save the transport costs, save the transport time. Like, a lot of customers always say, I want my base in, usually on the East Coast. So either Sydney, Melbourne, or Brisbane. Like, Brisbane is up there as well now. And then usually Adelaide and Perth are the satellite branches where they want to have the fast moving products, the fast turner that they can supply quickly, but don't have the need for every single product to be there.
Bit of a hybrid model where you've got it consolidated, but your stuff that's high turnover is going directly into those states.
Like kind of making the best out of both worlds. I mean, that's where we as a 3PL see our role as well, or our solution that we can offer, because therefore we don't need to put the entire cost on one customer, right? Like, if they want this model, if they want to test a new market, we're happy to work with them, support them, and give them the opportunity to test out waters in certain markets without the big upfront invest into the infrastructure, into the system, into their own facility. Like, if they don't need this full-time high headcount, then with a 3PL, you always have that option to go up and down. So that's kind of what we see for many of them.
In 5 years' time, where do you see, I suppose, Röhlig, but also, I suppose the broader contract logistics market?
Yeah, Röhlig as such, hopefully in 5 years' time.
Full warehouses.
Full warehouses.
Full warehouses,
More warehouses. So, like, it's a very exciting journey for us. Like, the last 8 years have been very exciting. We've grown globally and regionally here as well. So we definitely have the ambition to keep that trajectory, to keep these warehouses, to put more warehouses out there, to give our customers more flexibility. So for us, from a simple where are we, where do we want to be, that growth trajectory is definitely where we want to be in 5 years. What we see in the market is probably a bit more of a shift towards outsourced logistics, towards 3PL, because it is a unique industry. And especially as we move towards automation, AI, digitalization in the warehouse, it becomes even more of a unique field where a certain skill set can really then unlock effects of cost saving, etc. So therefore, it often doesn't justify for companies who are not in the logistics field to do all of that R&D, to do the investments, to do the testing, to do the processing, etc. So similar as we see it in a lot of other industries as well, like where you take more and more of the specialist jobs out of the core business and put them to specialists, because they simply can handle it more efficiently than we could it ourselves. Like, we do it in our business as well, right? Like, we work with the specialists for the subject matters. Like, we don't employ our own forklift technician because there are other companies who are specialized on this, and we work with them. And I think with logistics as well, like, because it moves away from just being a warehouse and not slow moving, but the pace is increasing, and to keep up with that, you've got to be automated, you've got to be fully integrated, you've got to be all like paperless operation. And I think therefore we'll probably see a bit of a shift more to specialized providers.
I think there'll be a crossroad where you either need to invest in automation, AI, bigger facilities, different facilities, whatever it may be, where, weighing up whether that investment is worth, going ahead with, or whether it's worth outsourcing. Especially when you've got a fixed cost model, then trying to move to maybe a variable cost model that may suit your your seasonality of your business. You pay fixed rent, for 12 months, but you might only need half that warehouse for 3 or 4 months of the year. Whereas with the having a 3PL or a contract logistics provider, you kind of play with that seasonality from a cost perspective, but also from a flexibility perspective where you've got you can have that bit of extra space or that overflow.
Yeah, flexibility is a big one.
Yep.
Like it's probably one of the biggest ones that we talk to with people is like, how far can I go up and down in my stock holdings? And we usually try to accommodate anything and everything, but obviously there's limits, right? There's physical limits to warehouse sizes, to space ability that we need to deal with. But yeah, exactly. As you said, like that is a key component. We will keep seeing supply chain challenges across the globe that will keep impacting us. So to provide that flexibility is a key part of our aspect as well.
Okay, Felix. So before we wrap it up, I hear that you've got a promo code for the viewers today, or the listeners.
Yeah, definitely. I think we should do this as part of our first podcast. I think we should honor that. So yeah, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, and if you need warehousing in Australia, in New Zealand, in this region, and would like to get some help on that, feel free to email us and refer to the Röhlig Radar. And we'll make sure that our pricing team will look after you accordingly. But super excited to hear from you and keep this growing.
All right, Felix, thank you for joining the first episode of the Röhlig Radar podcast. It's been great having you, hearing about your journey, hearing your story, and getting some insight into contract logistics.
Yeah, no, awesome. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. And it's very exciting. So I've never done a podcast before. So thank you.
Me too.
For this experience. And thanks for having me. And looking forward to hear from anyone. If you have any questions, concerns, queries, just let us know at any time. You know where to find us. And looking forward to hearing from you.
Excellent. Thank you. So if you've enjoyed the content and hearing a bit about us, please hit the subscribe button, like, follow, share a comment. It definitely helps broaden our reach. Thank you for joining.